Hello everyone, the Army of Otters here, and welcome back to Unexplored Skyrim. Today we're going to be checking out Rannveig's Fast, which is a dungeon located kind of in between Whiterun and Morthal. Now this location is really sad and really dark, and it features a pretty cool trap, or at least I think it's cool, maybe you don't, but we're going to go ahead and check it out along with the nearby Cold Rock Pass, so let's jump on into it. Now, as we approach from the outside from Whiterun, you're going to notice that there are subjugated ghosts here. And these ghosts will shout things such as, "I don't have any choice, I'm sorry, stay back or I'll be forced to attack you. I'm sorry, this isn't what I want, I don't want to do this. And is someone there? Stay back, I don't want to attack you." So obviously these ghosts are being forced to fight against their will. I wonder what could be going on. Now, there are 3 subjugated ghosts outside. At the beginning of the video, during the scenic shot, you saw one of the ghosts being killed by Erik the Slayer. So thank you very much, Erik. Now, just outside, we have this small encampment. Perhaps bandits or some kind of cave divers were here, like treasure hunters, who knows? But as we enter, we find a pretty peaceful scene, actually. There's really not many enemies, but as we go further into the dungeon, we're going to find a ghost, this one here, but we can just kind of sneak up on him, attack him, miss with our shot, but, hit him on the second time and kill him. That's just how we roll. And after that, we can keep on going deeper into the dungeon. Now, these subjugated ghosts are kind of sad because they're being forced to fight against their will. Their souls, in a sense, have been enslaved by, well, someone within this dungeon. Now, there are 5 subjugated ghosts throughout the dungeon, but they're actually pretty easy to kill, so you don't have to worry about it. Now, eventually, you'll walk into this main chamber where there's some grass growing on the ground. And this grass is important because if you look straight in front of you, you see a word wall and a chest. If you run towards it, the grass might hide the fact that there's a trap door right before the chest, and this chest is in fact empty. We can go on over to the word wall, though, and learn a word for kind's peace. Now, obviously, by jumping to the right, we can dodge the trap. However, AI won't do that. Somehow, Erik made it over the first time, but the second time he fell in. Kind of humorous. Then I decided to go after Erik, and when I fell in, Erik respawned up top. So, that was just kind of humorous, but then Erik fell down one more time. He's very loyal. And then we find Sild the Warlock, and Mr. Sild here is obviously a mage, he's a warlock, and he set up this trap to make people fall down. Hopefully they don't die, but sometimes they do, and then he, enslaves their soul as he tortures them to death. Now, the gate here is an expert lock. Now, on Sild's body, there is a key which could help you escape, or there's also like 15 lockpicks on the bodies within the cage, which will help you escape. Now, of course, it would probably be wise to try and get a sneak attack on Sild, but I decided to go ahead and listen to him and to see what he has to say, and I think it's worth it. It is kind of humorous, everything he's saying. He's trying to find something in order to torture or kill you with. He tells you, hey, it's going to be a quick and painless death. And then towards the end, he's like, haha, this will not be quick and painless. It's actually going to be very, very painful. And I do have to warn you, this fight was actually more difficult than I was anticipating, as my health actually did get pretty low while I was fighting him. But still, me and Erik were able to win without using any kind of potions and stuff. So after fighting for a bit, Erik died, but he was far away from the cage, so obviously I couldn't loot his body. But like I said, on this bandit here and the other bandits, there are lockpicks, so you can use those lockpicks to get out. If you run out of lockpicks, I honestly would have no idea what would happen. I guess you would have to reload the save. But there on his body, we can find the key and also a staff of fireballs. Now, it's also worth mentioning that Sild was originally supposed to have a unique staff on him called Sild's Staff. However, it was removed from the game, and it can only be obtained using console commands. Now, as we walk around, there are various cages that are locked, and this is actually one of the best places in Skyrim to increase your lockpick. You can pick all of these locks fairly easily, and there's a plethora of lockpicks to help you. But obviously, I just decided not to do that. It just seemed like kind of a waste of time for me, because my lockpick is already pretty high. Then over here, next to the alchemy set, we can find Sild's journal, which reads, 4th of Evening Star, 4E200. It never ceases to amaze me how many fall for my simple trap. I may have to consider tweaking it a bit though. Many of them in recent months have been dying the second they hit the cage floor. Putting a foot or two of water in didn't help either. In fact, it may actually be making things worse. The last one to fall in broke both his arms and legs. He proceeded to float there and eventually drown. If it weren't for the water, I would have had a great time twisting his mind until I decided to end him. 8th of Evening Star 4E200. Captured another one, finally. It's definitely true that whatever these orcs gain in size and strength, they lose in mental capacity. I'm amazed they can even speak. He kept saying that when he gets out, he'll break me in half like a twig. Persuasive, isn't he? Anyway, I told him that if he holds his head under the water for as long as this candle wick lasts, I'd let him go free. Stupid thing drowned within minutes. I never tire of this. 13th of Evening Star 4E200. I haven't captured a soul for days, and the last victim died on impact. Of course, I was still able to reclaim his soul, but without the thrill of killing or any kind of torture. The process lacks that special something. The reclaimed souls I've summoned make decent targets, but taking a mortal's life is just so much more sweet. So by reading this journal, we can learn that Sild is a very twisted individual with some very dark fantasies, and he was able to make these fantasies come to life in Rannveig's Fast. And this place, obviously, is very dark and very depressing. Now, there's also an unusual gem on this table and a destruction skill book, so make sure you pick those up. Just kind of changing the topic there from dark to, hey, here's some pretty good loot. Also, next to the alchemy table, there is a chest with various gold and other random stuff inside of it. Then, as we go into this next room, there's this really weird cage mechanism here, like this door. I'm not exactly sure what it's supposed to function, but if we pull the chain, it just opens the other gate. So, anyways, kind of interesting. I don't know what the purpose of that would have been, but hey, we have a dual cage door. Now, as we come to the end of the hallway here, we can go right or left. And now, if we go right like we are now, this actually takes us to a quicker exit from the dungeon. And if you go left, you'll go back up towards the top where the trap door is and the word wall. Now, there really isn't much on this path over here. However, there is a little view outside. Perhaps Sild would have used this to spy on any incoming victims. And over here we can find an expert lock door that also opens with the key we got from Sild. And in here we have a chest and some potions. And over here we have a door that leads us outside to back into the world. Now if we go the other direction, like I mentioned earlier, go left, we're going to find another subjugated ghost which we can kill. And these subjugated ghosts actually usually have somewhat decent loot, I found, especially like lockpicks and stuff like that. Now this gate here is opened by a lever. And inside of this room, we can find the main room once again. There's the chest and the trap door. Now, there is another room up here. It's locked behind this apprentice lock. And this is the room where Sild may have used to, like, view in or see some victims. We have a chest and then a potion. But taking that exit that I mentioned earlier, it actually takes us pretty far away from the original entrance of Rannveig's Fast, so just be aware. But there are some iron ore veins near this exit, so that might be useful for you. Now next I wanted to check out Cold Rock Pass. However, I wanted to see if you could get up on this wall over here. It seems to be some kind of canal or water aqueduct maybe. But as I came over the gate, which is possible, I found this little hole. And I found out, yeah, if you fall down this hole, well, you're just screwed. Of course, you could fast travel out of here, or you can just load a save like I did. But yeah, on the other side of that gate there that you can jump your way over, well, there's this random hole that you would die in if it wasn't a video game. But over here we can get some very beautiful views of Rannveig's Fast along with Whiterun Hold. And as we make our way up this staircase, we come up on Cold Rock Pass. Now up here there appears to be some kind of like shrine or some kind of religious thing, and there is a skeleton here. And if you kill the skeleton, this skeleton will always have a random staff on him, so that can be pretty good, and it is leveled, so the higher the level, the better the staff will be. And then we find the entrance to Cold Rock Pass. Now, this pass really isn't that much, it just provides a connection between Whiterun and Morthal. Inside, we can find a frost troll, however, using sneak, it was actually quite easy to kill him, especially because time now slows down when I use a bow and arrow. I actually never really realized this mechanic was in Skyrim, and it's making my playthrough maybe too easy. Anyways, after we killed the troll, we came up here on this little ledge, and we can just find a bunch of bones and animal parts and a dead bandit. But as far as loot, there isn't much. There are some ore veins in here, which might be of interest to you. And then over here we can find an open chest. This is also up on the ledge with random armor inside. And again, there's more ore veins down here on the frozen lake. And over here on the east wall, we can find a treasure chest with random loot. It just had 60 gold for me. And as we drop down, we find yet another ore vein. So, just so you know, it is here. And then after that, we can go through the other exit, and we come out on the Morthal side. And as I came around the corner here, I found an absolutely stunning view of the sunset setting over like Western Skyrim. So do be aware, you have some very beautiful views of the surrounding area. Now also over here we can easily access Eldersblood Peak. This is one of the ways, and maybe the proper way, to reach the top of the peak. Also, while you're over here, do be careful, because if you haven't defeated the dragon yet at Eldersblood Peak, well, the dragon will probably see you since he's always flying around the mountain, and well, he will probably attack you. So just be careful. Now, if you follow the path that's just above the entrance to Cold Rock Pass, this path will take you all the way to the top. There is a singular frost troll on the way, and we keep going up and we reach Eldersblood Peak. But I already made a video on this location, just a small mountain with a word wall and a dragon. Also, I just wanted to add that if you go up to the word wall while bypassing the trapdoor and then sneak downstairs, you will hear Sild talking to the trapdoor saying, "Come on, you know you want to." I just thought that was really funny and kind of a cool addition to the game. Alright everyone, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Unexplored Skyrim. I had a lot of fun going through Rannveig's Fast. It's a very dark location, and I do feel bad for those subjugated ghosts. Obviously their souls have been enslaved for, well, who knows how long. But I do hope that perhaps by killing them or getting rid of them, that we can give them some kind of peace. Alright guys, let me know what you think of Rannveig's Fast. If you have any ideas for future videos or future locations, please post them in the comments section below. And, as always, until next time.